Level 1. The commuter. You are 22 years old. You live in a cramped, overpriced apartment in a sprawling American city. You work a corporate job, staring at a glowing screen for 50 hours a week. The physical world makes absolutely no sense to you anymore. You are drowning in routine. You are suffocating in traffic. You need an escape, but you have no money. One afternoon, you walk into a cash converter's pawn shop. You are not looking for anything specific, but hidden in the back, behind a row of cheap electronics, you see it. A bicycle. It has been stripped of its decent components and fitted with cheap, subpar parts. But you recognize the potential immediately. It is a surly long-haul trucker. The frame is made of 100% 4130 chromoly steel. It is heavy. It is completely unglamorous. It is not trying to be the flashiest machine on the market, but you pay the $200 asking price. Without hesitating, you drag it back to your apartment. You do not know it yet, but this heavy arrangement of steel tubes is going to completely rewrite your DNA. You start commuting. At first, it is just to work, but soon the miles stretch out. You realize this machine is capable of what insiders call extreme commuting. It means more than just carrying a laptop and a change of clothes. You start carrying groceries. You start carrying tools. You feel the raw mechanical connection between your muscles and the pavement. The city stops being a prison. It becomes a map, but the city limits are starting to feel entirely too small. You look at the horizon, and the addiction begins. Level 2. The weekend escape artist. You are 24. You are no longer just a commuter. You are a tourist in your own state. You start attaching racks to the braze-ons. The frame has every mounting point you will ever need. Front and rear rack mounts, fender eyelets, water bottle bosses, and even a spare spoke holder. You load the bike with 20 pounds of camping gear. You ride out into the rural countryside. Your first trip is absolute agonizing suffering. Your legs burn with lactic acid. Your lungs feel like they are bleeding. The stock saddle feels like a torture device against your bones. You realize that the stock cantilever brakes are terrifyingly weak when you are flying down a steep hill with a fully loaded bike in the rain. But you do not quit. You adapt. You upgrade. You replace the brakes with powerful V-brakes for significantly better stopping power. You throw away the cheap saddle and install a Brooks B17 leather saddle, designed for brutal long-distance comfort. You upgrade the handlebar tape. You are learning the anatomy of endurance. You learn to use the microshift bar end shifters. In an era of electronic wireless shifting, your bike relies on pure mechanical friction. It is simple. It is unbreakable. If it breaks in the middle of a forest, you can fix it with a multi-tool. You sit by a campfire, 300 miles from your apartment, eating cold beans out of a tin can. Your body is completely exhausted, but your mind is entirely quiet. The anxiety of the modern world has vanished. You realize you do not want to go back to the office on Monday. You want to keep riding. Level 3, the Coast Rider. You are 26. You walk into your boss's office and you quit. You sell your furniture. You give up your apartment. You pack everything you need to survive into 4 waterproof pannier bags. You are standing in Vancouver, British Columbia. You look south. Over the next 5 weeks, you are going to ride 1,700 miles down the Pacific Coast route to Los Angeles, California. The physical toll is immense. You are carrying over 40 pounds of dead weight, but you experience a bizarre phenomenon. The surly long-haul trucker is not a fast or responsive bike when it is empty. But when you throw 40 pounds of gear onto the steel frame, it suddenly comes alive. The bike actually rides better, and more predictably, when it is heavily loaded. The long 460mm chainstays provide incredible stability. They also prevent your heels from striking the heavy rear bags as you pedal. You make a radical modification for the long journey. You remove the traditional drop bars. You install massive 710mm wide Jones Loop H bars. You lose aerodynamic efficiency. You cannot tuck down into the wind, but you gain something much more important: survival. The massive bars afford a huge number of hand positions, allowing you to move around and avoid nerve damage during 10-hour days in the saddle. You ride through blinding rain in Washington. You push through the crushing heat of Northern California. You sleep on beaches. You sleep behind gas stations. Your skin turns to leather. Your body fat drops to single digits. You are a biological engine, running entirely on peanut butter and adrenaline. When you finally reach Los Angeles, you look at the ocean. You have crossed the country using nothing but your own blood and muscle. You are no longer a normal citizen. You have tasted absolute freedom. Level 4, the Dirt Nomad. You are 29. The asphalt is getting boring. The highways are too loud. You are tired of cars passing you at 80 miles an hour, inches from your shoulder. You want the deep, isolated silence of the wild. You transform the bike again. The long-haul trucker is a chameleon. You swap the smooth touring tires for chunky 26 by 2.25-inch off-road rubber. The smaller 26-inch wheels offer a massive advantage for your new lifestyle. They accelerate quicker, they offer enhanced maneuverability, and they build a much stronger wheel, capable of surviving heavy impacts. You leave the paved roads entirely. You tackle single-track trails and rough, corrugated fire roads that have absolutely no business being ridden on a fully loaded touring bike. You are deep in the backcountry. There is no cell service. There is no backup. If you snap a derailleur or shatter a rim, you will have to walk for 3 days to find water. You learn the geometry of survival. The relaxed 72-degree head tube angle keeps the bike stable even when you are navigating treacherous, rocky descents. The steel frame acts as a natural shock absorber, dampening the violent vibrations of the gravel. You ride through territories where wild animals track your scent. You camp in total darkness, listening to the crack of branches in the woods. You are completely disconnected from the grid. You are a feral human, operating a mechanical beast of burden. You do not miss television. You do not miss the internet. You only care about the weather, the elevation, and the rotation of your cranks. Level 5, the International Expedition. You are 32. North America is not enough anymore. You want the world. You pack the long-haul trucker into a cardboard box and you put it on an airplane. You land in Europe. You are tackling the grueling UK Route 1, the National Cycle Network. The environment is entirely different. The cultures change every few hundred miles. You don't speak the languages, but the bicycle is a universal translator. You are carrying over 40 kilograms of gear now. Your bike is a moving fortress. You encounter other cyclists on the road. Guys riding $5,000 ultralight carbon fiber bikepacking rigs. They look at your heavy steel frame and your rim brakes and they laugh. They call your bike a dinosaur. But a week later, you find one of those riders standing on the side of a rocky mountain pass. His expensive carbon fiber frame has cracked under the stress of the rough roads. His trip is completely over. He is waiting for an expensive taxi. You slowly pedal past him. Your bulletproof chromoly steel frame just keeps rolling, mile after mile. You chose the rim brake version of the long-haul trucker instead of the modern disc brake version for a very specific reason. Survival. You value some simplicity and worldwide serviceability. If a hydraulic disc brake fails in a remote village in Eastern Europe, you are stranded. But if a rim brake cable snaps, you can fix it with a wrench and a wire you buy at a local hardware store. You are not racing. You are surviving. The reliability benefits far outweigh the weight penalty. You are learning that the most advanced technology is usually the first thing to break in the wild. Level 6, the Global Ghost. You are 36. You have been on the road for years. You have logged over 10,000 kilometers. You have ridden through the remote gravel roads of Tasmania, across Australia, and through the mountains of Japan. Your identity has completely dissolved. You do not have a permanent address. Your friends back home have gotten married, bought houses, and had children. When you speak to them on rare video calls, you have absolutely nothing in common. They talk about interest rates. You talk about surviving a massive thunderstorm in the Alps. You are a ghost, haunting the edges of their reality. The physical degradation is becoming a permanent state of existence. Your skin is permanently burned by the sun. Your hands are calloused and scarred from fixing broken chains in the freezing rain. You carry spare parts like currency. You run a robust 3x10 Shimano drivetrain with a massive gear range to drag your heavy life up impossible mountain passes. You understand every single mechanical click and hum of the bicycle. You know when a bearing is failing just by the vibration traveling up the seat post. You push through environments that break normal men. You ride through heat waves that melt the tar on the road. You ride through freezing rains that numb your fingers so badly you have to shift gears by slapping the bar end shifters with the palm of your hand. You are living in a constant state of calculated suffering. But the suffering is the only thing that makes you feel alive. When you are off the bike for more than 2 days, you feel a deep, sickening anxiety. The movement is your only medication. The world is too loud when you are standing still. Level 7, the Transcontinental Veteran. You are 42. You are a legend in the underground touring community. You are the gold standard, just like the bike you ride. Younger riders read your blog posts. They ask you for advice on gear ratios and tire clearances. You tell them that the 2025 long-haul trucker can fit a 700C by 42mm tire with fenders, or a 45mm tire without. You give them the technical specifications, because it is easier than giving them the psychological truth. The truth is, this life requires you to sever every attachment you have to the modern world. You have spent decades making decisions based entirely on survival and forward momentum. You navigate the globe using paper maps and the position of the sun. You have slept in abandoned buildings in the Balkans. You have outrun feral dogs in the deserts of South America. You have achieved the ultimate cycling dream. You have absolute, total freedom. There is no schedule. There is no itinerary. You wake up, you boil water on a tiny alcohol stove, you tear down your tent, and you ride into the unknown. But the freedom comes with a crushing, inescapable isolation. You are always leaving. You meet incredible people in small villages. They invite you into their homes, they feed you, and the very next morning, you pedal away, knowing you will absolutely never see them again. Your life is an endless series of goodbyes. You are a temporary character in everyone else's story. The only constant companion you have is a 30-pound steel frame. It never complains. It never judges you. It just carries the weight. Level 8, the Permanent Wanderer. You are 50 years old. Your body is covered in scars. Your knees sound like crushed glass when you walk up a flight of stairs. You finally decide that it is time to stop. You have crossed every continent you wanted to cross. You have proven everything you needed to prove. You fly back to the United States. You rent a small, quiet apartment. You get a normal job. You try to reintegrate into society. The first night in a soft, warm bed, you cannot sleep. The silence of the apartment is deafening. There is no wind howling against the rainfly of a tent. There is no sound of trucks roaring past a highway ditch. You stare at the ceiling. The air conditioning feels unnatural. The walls feel like a prison. You walk into the living room. Your surly long-haul trucker is leaning against the wall. The paint is chipped and faded. The steel frame is scratched from thousands of miles of flying debris. The handlebar tape is torn. The Brooks saddle is perfectly molded to your exact anatomy. It looks like a weapon that has survived a massive war. You touch the cold steel of the top tube. You realize the ultimate, terrifying truth of the extreme bicycle tourist. You didn't just tour the world toured you. It carved out your soul and replaced it with an insatiable, burning need for the horizon. You thought you were riding the bike to find an escape, but the bike became your only reality. You look out the window at the city streets. You look back at the bicycle. You know exactly what is going to happen. You are going to pack those 4 waterproof panniers again. You are going to walk out the door, clip into the pedals, and disappear. This is the life of the long-haul trucker. Not a man driving an 18-wheeler, but a human being powered entirely by their own heartbeat, riding a steel machine across the face of the earth. You climb the ranks from a desperate commuter trying to escape the city to a global ghost haunting the international highways. You realize that true freedom isn't about the places you see or the miles you log. True freedom is accepting that once you truly cross the line into the wild, there is no road that will ever lead you back home.